This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. There he is. How you enjoying your vacation right now?
Almost on vacation. I got, a week from now. So this time next week, I'll be somewhere in the Bahamas, sand in between my toes, drink in my left hand, no phone in my right because we're not getting the international plan. We're going to disconnect. No, I can't wait. For now, it's just, that very unproductive time leading up to the vacation when, you feel like you're in limbo. You feel like, all right, I got things, but I don't technically have anything to do.
So you're not going to have internet, so you won't even know any breaking news, like when the Dolphins trade for somebody and you're not going to know about it?
Not going to trade for anybody. Be all right. I have Wi-Fi in the hotel room. That's it.
I like it. All right, so what'd you think of the sad-ass story of Tyreek Hill getting death threats because of his comments? Can our society get any more pathetic?
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not, bro. No, I'm not. No,
I was, I think that death threats have been lobbied for a lot less than saying the quarterback of your favorite team isn't as accurate as the quarterback of your new team. So I'm not shocked. Football fans will always find a way to push the envelope and, they kind of one up one another. Obviously, I don't think anybody is going to actually do anything. I don't think anybody's actually going to try to kill Tyreek Hill, but it's still unnerving. It's unsettling to see, no matter how seriously you're supposed to be taking these threats. It's just, yet again, a reminder that, guys, this is a game, and it's a game that you don't even play. So stop being so angry. Stop letting it get you so angry. It's just entertainment, man. It's just entertainment.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. There's no doubt that it's just entertainment. It's just sad that, and as I told Alan Poupart, the repercussions from things like this is that then players don't talk, and then you don't get more information, and fans don't get to read more about their favorite players, and they won't open up as much, and those kind of things. And that's all that does. That doesn't help at all in any way, shape, or form. Things going on. It's not just a Tyreek thing. This will trickle down to other players around the league. Like, oh man, look what Tyreek got just for, I'd rather not do the interview. I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about that. So you're going to get less people opening up for you because of these kind of reactions.
Probably, but I don't know. I think that he's strong-willed enough, and it's his own show. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like he's doing interviews. I think the existence of his show by itself is a sign that he's probably not doing too many podcast appearances, interviews, exclusive one-on-ones, all of that. I think he's already sending a message that he wants to set his own narrative, which is, that's great. I'm ecstatic for them. I'm ecstatic for every athlete that does that. It's starting to become kind of a trend here. Not every athlete podcast is inherently interesting just because of the host. Like, you still have to be interesting. You still have to provoke thought. But there's I think Draymond Green is interesting, but I don't want to hear just like the average player's podcast. If I'm already hearing Dre, if I'm already hearing Tyreek Hill, if I'm hearing these prolific stars, you still have to be interesting. It's a little different if you're just kind of like a practice squad or roster fodder or USFL guy. You might be better off as a host, but like a week after week thing, I think it might be hard to continue to attract an audience. But for a guy like Tyreek Hill, I think it's a wonderful move, especially as he tries to kind of rebrand himself or start to rebrand himself in this new market, in this new team, new era of his career. I don't think that getting death threats after his first episode, I don't think it's going to deter him very much personally, because you knew what the thing is called, it needed to be said. Like, the whole premise of the show is he's probably going to say some things that are inflammatory. Like, he knew what he was getting himself into. Right. And I don't think anybody's going to pull up on Tyreek. So, like, I don't think he's genuinely upset. I think he's just commenting about the absurdity of it all, that, like, wow, like, they really feel some type of way in Kansas City over a quarterback that doesn't know them. He doesn't even that's not your friend. That's not your boy. That's just the guy who wins football games for a team that plays near your city. Like, it's not that serious. It's never that serious.
So let me ask you: is when we look at this show now, and I've seen this story a lot with head coaches, new head coaches. They all come in with an idea on what they want to do, and then eventually they figure out what's a good idea and what's a bad idea. Will the players doing a show be a bad idea for Mike McDaniel down the line? Will he change his mind about something like this, or do you think that he's a guy that will be able to roll with this kind of stuff going on?
I think he's going to have to roll with it. It's like a rubber band. It's very hard. It's impossible, really, to get a rubber band to be tight again after you've stretched it out. And the rules are already a little bit stretched. I don't want to say the rules are stretched, but the rubber band is stretched right now. He's allowed to do the podcast now. So I think that there might be a suggestion or two from the Dolphins communication department or the coaching staff saying, hey, like certain topics are off limits, or he might it's just a rule of thumb. Like some of it is common sense. Don't talk about X, Y, Z. But I think that either way, whether the Dolphins are good or bad, whether they're winning or losing, I think that Tyreek's perspective on it is going to be interesting. Like, you're going to want to hear it. You're going to want to hear what's going on in the locker room if they're good, or what's working. You're going to want to hear how are they banding together, how are they responding through adversity if they start losing games. So it's going to be hard. But McDaniel's entire thing is like, look, man, like I want y'all to be as comfortable as possible. I want you to be yourself. I want you to feel like I want you to feel like you don't have to hide who you are or stifle who you are, as long as you come to work on the field. So as long as Tyreek is coming to work every day, I don't think it's going to matter to Mike McDaniel what he's doing off the field, as long as it's within the parameters of the law.
By the way, when we talk about Edge Energy Drink, the finest energy drink on the planet, when I tell you it's delicious, it's delicious. When I tell you it's smooth, it's super smooth. And when I tell you it has no aftertaste, I'm not lying, baby. I know you're used to it, right? A lot of these after drinks have a ton of aftertaste. Edge has no aftertaste. It's smooth, delicious, and zero aftertaste, 78 calories. And guess what? You will get 10% off your order. Go to myedgedrink.com. That's myedgedrink.com and check it out for yourself. Edge Energy Drink. All right. We look at this team right now. Your biggest concern going into training camp is what?
Biggest concern going into training camp? I need to see the offensive line. It didn't look great, but there weren't pads on. I'll add that caveat. But speaking to the guys who play on either side of the trenches, they said that the pads didn't matter. Guys were still out there competing. Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer lived in that backfield throughout OTAs, throughout minicamp. Teron Armstead presumably makes the line better, not necessarily the interior of the line like that. So I still need to see that come together. I still would like to see, I've reported multiple times here, coaching staff thinks that it can put those players in the best position to succeed. They didn't see poor players last year. They saw poor scheme. So I still would like to see that. That is a concern. Beyond that, it's just a matter of this offense needs to learn. This offense needs to figure itself out. It needs to become second nature to the guys on it. And that's just going to take time. It's going to take reps. There's also, a small concern about the defense. They were a good defense last year. Toward the second half of the season, or in the second half of the season, I believe they led the NFL in defensive expected points added, and I don't think it was particularly close. They did so, though, against the trash juice of the league, the Panthers, the Giants, the Jets 2 times, the Texans. It wasn't a great schedule, and I know we beat this argument to death last year.
No,
but
they weren't good against the good teams in the first half of the season.
That's the thing. That was what was concerning, and their one chance to kind of snap back to it against Tennessee, they got routed by Tennessee. The game was never close.
Even X didn't play well against some of the receivers in that first half.
So, and he was battling injuries throughout the first half. Byron Jones was battling injuries. We saw that. They both got, obviously, they were torched by Tampa Bay as they played through injuries because, you know, you couldn't go up against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown with Noah Igbenogany and Troy Williams. So even hurt starters are better than your backups at that point. But I digress. The point is they were poor on defense in that first half of the season. So I still want to see which one is real, which is the real Miami defense. There's been a lot of rumors, unsubstantiated rumors, that Brian Flores took over defensive play calling in the second half of the season. I've been told that's not true. I don't want to refute or, call other reporters wrong. I'm just telling you what I have been told, that was not the case. But I guess we'll find out for sure on the field in
let me tell you, the fact that they kept everybody tells me that he must have been making the calls. That's because they know. The front office knows exactly what was going on. So they must be satisfied with him as a defensive coordinator overall. They must feel he can do the job or that he did the job. I mean, because, in fact, I think it was you that reported that he wasn't really talking. Flores wasn't really communicating with his staff as much after Thanksgiving. Wasn't it you that broke that story?
Yeah, it was. Brian Flores, he stopped communicating plans and schemes and meetings, ideas, and practice schedules to certain assistant coaches after Thanksgiving. Ironically, that is when the winning streak started. So, ain't broke, don't fix it type of deal. But it is what it is, man. And as we heard from Stephen Ross right after he was fired, that communication was the most prevalent issue there. And, I don't want to touch the lawsuit. Obviously, that's the litigation is going to figure itself out from there. But yeah, if we're going to talk concerns in that order, it's going to be offensive line, and it's going to be which defense is the real Miami defense. And I guess we will see that again. We'll see that in a matter of 3 months.
All right, so I got to ask this. And I know you don't want to. I guess you kind of mentioned it, but I got to ask you: what do you think happens with the NFL and Brian Flores and the arbitration part of it? They wanted an arbitration. It was already collectively bargained that way between both sides that it was going to go to arbitration. So Brian Flores is trying to get it out in public, something against what the agreement is. What have you heard? I don't know if you've heard anything. I don't know if you've even followed up on this story much, but what do you think happens here? Does Brian Flores get this thing out in public, or does the NFL get what they want and have negotiated for to put this thing in arbitration? And
the NFL gets what it wants here, and they want this. They want it to go away. They don't want the noise. I don't think it's something that these teams are particularly worried about because it's hard to prove. At the end of the day, at its core, what Brian Flores was told is hard to prove unless there was, a written offer or signed offer from Stephen Ross. It's just he said, she said at this point, and you're innocent until proven guilty in this country. So it's going to be hard to prove this case. The NFL, I think, probably has the upper hand here. They probably are they've got the advantage in this situation. I feel for Brian Flores, but I feel like the primary goal of this case, I think that he had to know that winning is probably a long shot. Winning the case is probably a long shot. I think it was more calling attention to an issue, calling attention to concern, than it was about actually, coming away with anything. They just want some change. And the NFL is going to see this. They're going to say, okay, this was bad PR. We're going to initiate some new diversity program. And then everybody's going to stop talking about it in about a year. That's kind of like a cut and dry, rinse and repeat situation with whenever the NFL is sued or whenever the NFL is in a poor light. I think obviously they're more concerned about what's going on in Cleveland and the Cleveland quarterback than they are with Brian Flores' lawsuit.
Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ. All right, so while you're slacking around here before you go on vacation, what are you working on there while you slack around on ESPN so folks can check you out?
I don't like that terminology, man. I don't like that language. We're gonna need to find a new way to say that while I'm in development.
It's the off season right now. They're not even on the field. They're all hanging out. You're slacking covering Dolphins. So come on, let's go.
No, I got. I have a couple features in the works. I'm actually just story planned for it yesterday. Had the meetings yesterday. So starting to make calls and doing interviews for that now. I don't want to blow my cover first, too early. But
Good.
Story I'm really interested in. Story I think Dolphins fans are going to be interested in, obviously, or I wouldn't be doing it. But that's kind of my focus for the next, we'll call it 2-3 weeks. And once training camp starts to really get really get closer to the distance, then start studying the roster, start watching a little bit of tape from last year, just getting that refresher back so that, we're not too rusty when we actually get in the stands and watch them practice. But man, I can't believe we're in this part of the offseason already, man. Like I've said 100 times, this is the fastest offseason that I've ever been a part of. It's the most eventful offseason I have ever been a part of. And but I'm grateful for real football to start, man, because I'll just work better with the schedule, and we are only 3-4 weeks away from getting right back to that.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right, follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ. And catch him twice a week here, rocking and rolling with our Edge Energy Drink, Miami Dolphins Insider Report, and go to myedgedrink.com. Use our code Big O, and you will get 10% off there on your order. Marcel, have a great weekend, my friend. We'll catch up next week.
Appreciate y'all. See you Monday.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Marcel Louis-Jacques, ESPN NFL Insider.